Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Hello. We want to take this moment and this opportunity to invite our pastor, who is the host for this event tonight, Pastor Evan Smith, if he will come forward and give us a greeting, and he would like to pray. So I think that's in order since we're in his church. We can do that.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'd like to welcome you to Morning Star Missionary Baptist Church and the Old Kingston community, if you're familiar. We don't want to take time away from the presentation, so we'll get right into it. We can just bow for a word of prayer, please. Oh Lord, our Lord, how excellent is your name in all the earth. God, we just thank you and we bless you and we praise you. We invoke and invite your presence in this place. Lead us in this time. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Smith. You're welcome. For those of you who are here tonight, we want to just take another opportunity to welcome you to tonight's community meeting and this presentation. Let me just recognize, I saw a couple of our city officials that came in. I'd like to recognize Commissioner Kelly White. Kelly, hold up your hand, everybody can see you. And Commissioner Paul Reed, we're so happy to see you tonight. Our assistant city manager is here, Miss Betty Goodman. Hold up your hand, Betty. All right. Did I miss any city officials? Well, we're going to get to Mr. Chisholm. We're going to get to Mr. Chisholm. But all right, to all of you, thank you for coming. Let me just give you a general idea of what's going to happen tonight. Tonight's meeting is going to be really two parts. The first part of the meeting is going to be a presentation that I will be giving, and that presentation is based on the information that was shared with our city commissioners by a consultant who was brought on board to give us some direction or some input on how we might be able to manage the homeless that we now find currently residing in our community. And so I want to give that presentation first, and following that, we will have a question and answer period, and our own city manager, James Chisholm, will be coming to give us the question and answer. This will be for 1 hour, and we will be able to get, I think, everything done that we need to do in that hour time. The impetus for this meeting tonight came from a question that was asked of me. A person called City Hall and asked if I was going to be purchasing property on North Street to erect a tent city, to which I said absolutely not. And so from that phone call, Mr. Chisholm decided that what we might need to do is come to the community and just share what the city is proposing, rather than have innuendo and false information that is going out into our community. So, if you sit back, relax, we're going to do the first part of this presentation, which is the PowerPoint slide. The current encampment that we now see at the Volusia County building on Beach Street, as many of you know, you can't pick up the paper without seeing something written about those individuals who are now in front of that building. Our city, Daytona Beach, has been working very closely with the Salvation Army. There has been a temporary facility on Blue Road that has been established. My understanding is that all 46 of those beds have been filled on the first night. As I mentioned, Daytona Beach is not supporting the establishment of a tent city and will block any effort to create a tent city. According to what we have knowledge of, 11 cities tentatively want to seek a homeless solution in Volusia County. Daytona Beach, of course, is the lead agency. Dr. Marbert Consulting, was brought in by the city of Daytona Beach to make recommendations to our city commissioners so that we might be able to reduce homelessness in Daytona Beach, which would impact as well the entire county. In order to develop the recommendations, Dr. Marbert did his own analysis, as he has done in other cities. He looked at our current situation in Volusia County. He looked at all of the statistics and reports from the local agencies that he could get his hands on. He interviewed individuals who were homeless. Meetings were held with community persons who had a stake in our city. He posed as a homeless person to better understand the homeless community. 50 to 60% of homeless individuals, according to his study, have major mental health issues. 78% of those same individuals have a substance abuse issue, according to his study. 90% of homeless have at least one or both of these issues. He recommends that we change from a culture of enablement to a culture of engagement. And here's the reasons that he cites. Street services and feeding enables homelessness. Feeding programs do not address root causes of homelessness. Programs are needed for mental, behavioral health, substance abuse, job training, placement, and life skills. Food in parks and on beaches, according to his study, increase homelessness. Sleeping under a bridge, there's the bridge, or a jail cell floor is not a 24/7 recovery program, according to Dr. Marbert. Our community, any community, should establish an individual case management system for homeless candidates. And that case management system brings agencies into a central location that can assist the homeless with various issues that they may be facing to help them get back to wholeness. If the present model is not changed, homelessness in Volusia County, according to his study, will increase dramatically. Here's his plan of action. Dr. Marbert proposes that we create a 24/7 service center to improve services through one central location and adopt a strategic holistic action plan for changes and implementation. Wrong placement of a center could have dire consequences, according to his study, and dramatically reduce the success rate. Critically interconnected services at Volusia Safe Harbor, at 1140 Red John Drive in Daytona Beach, according to his study, should be near the Stuart Marchman facility. One central location for services will significantly increase the capacity to serve the chronically homeless, and it's critical to address families with children simultaneously. Moving again from a culture of enablement to a culture of engagement. He mentions this several times in his study. This includes service agencies, volunteers, staff, donors, funders, government agencies, programs, residents, tourists, and the homeless community. Food programs and panhandling increases homelessness through enablement. The mission should not be to serve, but to increase street graduation rates to wholeness. He proposes that we develop a media and public awareness campaign to educate our community to move from enablement to engagement. He proposes that we promote a change in thinking and a change in doing. There's that old adage that says if you can keep doing the same thing the same way and expect a change, it's a definition for insanity. Street graduation occurs when the homeless move from encampment to a sustainable quality of life that encourages productivity as a citizen. Individually customized engagement plans provide a roadmap out of homelessness to income and housing. Success is measured not by output, but by outcomes and systematic change. He proposes to build or open the 24/7, 365 Come As You Are facility for single homeless men and women called Volusia Safe Harbor, VHS, to improve effectiveness and efficiency. We have several agencies that have worked very, very hard to establish Volusia Safe Harbor. Halifax Urban Ministries is currently the best suited agency, according to Dr. Margaret, to operate Volusia Safe Harbor. Agencies such as Haven Recovery Center and Second Harvest should be recruited to relocate all or part of their services to VHS. Adult services throughout the county provided by SMA and HUM and other service agencies can be coordinated from the service center. Street outreach efforts established to bring the homeless to Volusia Safe Harbor for 24/7 transformation services, getting their lives back together. Here's his plan of action. Engagement to VHS, Volusia Safe Harbor. First, outreach. Interface with homeless outreach teams. Have an intake facility for registration and assessment, and a master case management facility. For medical, on-campus and off-campus referrals, dental off-campus, vision mostly off-campus, pharmacy services on-campus, mental health on and off-campus, addictive disorders and substance abuse both on and off-campus. Job placement services are going to be very important. Legal services and ID recovery, very hard to get a job if you don't have your ID. Life skills training, job skills training to include interview and resumes. Job placement, coaching, and enlistment of business communities support for their employment. Hygiene services will be in place at the facility, 24/7 restrooms and showers. Hygiene skills training and services, haircut services, overnight sleeping, low-demand sheltering, transitional living. Not to be considered. Volusia Safe Harbor is not to be considered a permanent solution for individuals who are homeless. It is transitional in its nature and concept. Feeding. Establish a commercial kitchen on site to provide meals. And other support services on site would be a clothing closet, housing placement, veteran services, daytime activities, property storage, donation center. The administrative services for VHS would include security, storage, volunteer coordination, community service work crews, and a Volusia Safe Harbor work crew to keep the facility clean. That should say 9 cities. 9 cities have pledged their financial support for the creation of VHS. Volusia County has verbally agreed to provide the land and $4 million for construction. And let me say, I want to thank Faith. Jessica, I think I saw you. Are you here? I want to thank Faith for giving me updates as to many of the things that they have been doing throughout the county for the Volusia Safe Harbor project. There is no plan to reopen at this time Manatee Park, which would undermine efforts to change our homeless strategies from enablement to engagement. Volusia County has no jurisdiction over the city park system. Online donations have now been established on the website of the City of Daytona Beach. You can go to the city website. The City of Daytona Beach is accepting donations from as low as $10 to as high as $10,000 that can be paid for online using your MasterCard or Visa, or by sending a check directly to the City of Daytona. Daytona Beach, mailed to P.O. Box 2451. Attention Homeless and Indigent Public Assistance Fund. The city website where you can find this link to donate is codb.us/homeless. Or you can go directly to the city website, as I mentioned, and there is a link on the city website for donations. Thank you. That ends with the PowerPoint presentation. Our city manager, Mr. Chisholm, is coming forward at this time, and we will have a microphone that will be brought to you should you have a question.
Thank you very much. Got a question already?
I have a question. Which 9 cities have agreed to participate in this, and what is their agreement level? Are they talking about just being committed to doing operating expenses, and how much have they committed, and which cities are they?
You know, I don't have them right off the top of my head, but I can tell you I've met with the city managers of all those cities today. There are 11 cities in that meeting. All of them are reviewing the initial confirmation that they gave us, or commitment they gave us on the financial plan. It's most likely a plan that we will probably restructure somewhat, because some of it doesn't actually fairly treat all of the, in an equitable manner, all of the cities that were contributing. And that was part of our discussion today, so that's going to have to be worked on. But we do have 9 communities that are committed to go forward. There is a formula that's in this plan that says each city, and it goes by cities based on population and a number of other things, as to how much each should contribute. And what I'm telling you is I think that plan, that formula is probably going to change so that we address some of the concerns some of the cities have.
But the 9 cities have committed to that.
Yes.
Go forward is the operating expenses that are
Operating.
really the issue.
Operating?
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyone else? Yes,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. As I understand it, the yearly cost of this plan is indefinite. And it doesn't seem to me that anyone has put the brakes on this thing, just ballooning from year to year and costing the cities more than they anticipated. And I believe that's why Port Orange said they don't want anything to do with it.
Yes, I can't speak for Port Orange, but I can tell you this. The best information available when the study was originally done showed that the $1.6 million of intent that we could expect to have to spend to support that facility for a 250-bed facility. There's a number of issues that impact that, and how many beds do you end up in the end, and how many participants do you end up in the program. That all impacts your operating costs. That is going to evolve as we go forward. It will have a better handle of what the cost should be in the end. But
Plus the cost of the staff and administrators.
that's all part of that cost.
Yes, sir.
Good.
I knew you had a soft voice.
Thank you. So it said Volusia County will be providing the land. Where is it going to be if it happens?
The Stewart Park facility on Red John Road is one of the locations where we've identified, and the county has committed to give us property at that location.
Okay, so I know you're not going to reopen Manatee Island. I am just curious, who was responsible for making the decision to close it at the time that it was closed? And was there any thought given to how that would impact the homeless people's situation in Daytona Beach, and how it was going to impact the downtown merchants? Because it seems like it was not a well thought out decision. So who made that decision?
I did.
Okay.
That's my job to make decisions. The bathrooms were torn up by some of the users. So they were not usable at the time, so we closed it for construction. At the same time, we had other activities that began to take place, and I'm not sure they were connected or not, because I think the encampment we have is comprised of more than just people that happen to be in Daytona Beach at the time. We have people from all over the county in the encampment currently. Yes, sir.
How do you know that, Tim?
That's what I'm being told by the agencies that are providing services.
Well, we now.
Wait, just a minute. This gentleman here had a question.
I have a question. You Someone mentioned that the beds at the Salvation Army are pretty much full, but it seems that there's still people that don't have a place to stay. What are the plans that are being put forward for what to do in the interim?
We're working with them to develop additional, I think it's 30 beds we're trying to develop with them. And with the Salvation Army, we have about, I think, 18 more beds we're trying to put in.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I read on the chart that saying, my concern was, it was talking about putting up temporary tents on North Street, but I read it on the board and said there's no way that we're doing this, right?
That's correct.
Okay, but that's my concern. So with that being said, y'all already found your places that you're putting on, but I said we already have a shelter there. Y'all not gonna break it down the street, are you?
No.
North Street off the.
We're not going to permit, a tent city in the city. That's in violation of our code. What we're going to do is use the agencies that currently are providing the services, and we're contracting with them to continue providing services, expand their service level to reach the homeless population needs in the community.
Oh, so y'all really think that's possible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Having attended the county council meeting a few days ago, it's my understanding while they agreed to donate the property and I think $4 million, they have the city of Daytona on a timeline. I think they got you on a 60-day timeline to come up with the funding. I think that ends the 1st of March. Do you anticipate being able to meet that deadline?
I anticipate we'll have a response and a negotiated agreement within that same timeline. Yes, sir.
Yes.
The donation site you have online for the city, can you designate where you want your monies to go if you want to donate, say, toward the operation of Check Harbor as opposed to?
Absolutely. It has two options. One is for the long-term project of Safe Harbor and the short-term project for homeless that are in need today.
Thank you.
I'm going to come back to you too, because I know you guys.
I'm just wondering, it seems to me that it's taken a long, I've been going to city council meetings, and for 7 months, I have heard homeless advocates and homeless people and merchants get up and say, we have a problem with the homeless population. Please help us. Everybody needs help, the merchants, the homeless people. And for 7 months, I've seen the city council do virtually nothing, even though Mark's plan was available. And it seems like until the county issued the ultimatum, the city council didn't do much. So I'm wondering why there has been this long delay in the city taking action.
We had, you probably don't know this, but during those 7 months, we were flying all over the country looking at different facilities that were currently being used in other communities to get a good idea of what to expect when we open a facility. And that takes time and effort. We made those trips and came back with a confirmation of one thing. You have to have a facility that serves as the entry point for the homeless to begin getting services, and you got to have a facility that can provide the assessment, the initial assessment, and case management identification for those particular individuals if you're going to be successful in the end. It is more than just providing food. It's more than just providing housing. And that is our goal, is to reach the population in a correct manner, provide both the interim step of assessment and case management to hopefully graduate them back into housing of their own, and so they can sustain their own selves as they become citizens in that fashion. Now, not everybody's going to fit that mold. There's going to be others, because all of them have different issues, and we have to be able to address those issues. And that's what we're attempting to do, is come up with a program that not only brings them into the community as a part of the community itself, but give them the tools to be successful and process them in a way that they get the kind of help they need. Now, let me ask something.
As a homeless man myself, just recently, you're talking about moving the facility all the way up to the Markham facility.
Yes.
How do you plan on providing jobs and transportation to people who are trying to go?
The services are going to be provided at the facility itself. The transportation system, the bus system runs there currently.
But that's a problem for the homeless is logistics in itself.
Okay.
It takes 4.5 hours.
All you have to do is make a phone call. We have outreach programs where they will come and pick you up.
Yeah, but then that takes time logistics and planning. I mean,
Well,
you
that's-
just simply hop in the car.
Everything takes time, everything's going to take some planning, yes, ma'am.
How soon could this safe harbor be built and operational?
It probably will take us, I'm just being realistic, 12 months, and we just went through a selection process today on the architecture design, and I don't know who is selected, but that'll be the first action that we take in moving forward. Since that is in place, then we'll have to get all that permitted with the county, so it takes time to get through those processes, and we have to get the agreement completed with the county. So my estimation, you're talking about a year before you get a permanent facility. And in the interim, we'll be working with these two agencies we're working with now.
Do you have an estimate on operational costs annually?
The annual is between 1.2 and 1.6 billion. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm probably going overboard here, but, coming in, I was interested, and I talked to a gentleman, he said he's a veteran. Is there anything out there to help veterans realize
Yes,
they
ma'am.
have a new program out to help them to get?
There is a program, yes, ma'am, there is a program for it. If you're putting in touch with us, that Mike can help you.
Okay.
Okay.
Just whisper them out and just show me where pointing me to them, and he'll help me, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Jim, you accepted responsibility for making the decision to closing Manatee Island and City Island. Okay, now, would you apologize to the Beach Street merchants for causing the crisis on Beach Street? The bathrooms are fine, and
They are now.
okay, well then open them back up.
Okay, that makes
Yes,
sense.
Are you gonna apologize to the Beach Street merchants?
No, I'm not apologizing to anybody.
I know that.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
With all due respect, Mr. City Manager, a cheetah has 700 pounds of jaw strength, a great white shark has 1,250 pounds of jaw strength, and a pit bull has 2,000 pounds of jaw strength and locks down on you. You can't get it off. And some of the people over there at the tag office at 250 South Beach Street have pit bulls on the leash right now. And if they fall asleep or the pit bull gets loose, somebody may, God forbid, get eaten alive down there. Why haven't the pit bulls been removed from those people and put back at home where they belong in a fenced yard, sir?
that's a good question. We'll certainly look into it.
5 counties in South Florida have banned pit bulls, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you kind of answered my question. With all due respect, I'm grateful that you went out and explored for 7 months that this type safe harbor model is going to work. That's awesome, because now I know that you can proceed confidently that this is what we have to do. But in that 7 month interim, still people were requesting something be done for the immediate needs of the homeless people, and it seems like nothing has been done until, Commissioner Woods introduced this whole thing, which seems very last minute and scrambled. And I'm just so curious as to why the city has not been addressing this on an immediate need before the building of safe harbor. Can you answer that without discussing safe harbor? Thank you.
Yes, I can. The homeless issue is not a normal function of city government. It has not been until probably the last 10 years that we end up with a lot more activities by cities in dealing with homeless issues. And in our case, we were never prepared to deal with homeless issues until I think it was in the last 2 years we started seeing that the issue was more impactful than we originally thought. So that's the best I can tell you is we didn't put there's a large group of thought in all cities that it's a county responsibility because it's a county-wide issue. It's not just Daytona Beach, and it's not just Ormond Beach or New Smyrna Beach or DeLand. It's a county-wide issue. And we have been trying to get the county to assume responsibility, and the best we can get is the county to agree to pay for the destruction of the facility and provide the land. So rather than sit back and argue about, well, they should be doing it, we decided to take the lead and to move forward and try to garner not only the capital money, but garner the operating funds from other cities and other groups to hopefully fund this activity. And that's money's always the real problem in the end. And until we had some confidence we could get all that done, we couldn't do it. Yes.
Okay, so at the last city council meeting, I think it was John Nicholson got up and he said that there is some kind of a facility that has like 80 beds that's just not being utilized, that the city is running or owning or something. Do you remember that?
No, I don't know what John was talking about, but the facility, the two facilities, the one facility that's actually operational is the Salvation Army facility over on Rivero. And they have permits that allow them to expand to take the capacity that we need. And that's who we're working with primarily. The second group is Tom, as we were working with them to see, they have some outreach, some rapid housing options for us, and we're going to work with them also. Okay. Yes,
my main concern is children's welfare, and I was wondering, I know the slide mentioned that children and families would be addressed concurrently. What's being done now and what will be done to address the problem of children?
There's another program that's being really put together by a private group that's focused on taking the school and moving the family element into that school process, and they're working on that separate of what we're doing.
Yes, ma'am. All the way to the back. Yes, ma'am.
What about the old Volusia halfway house that can house about 100 people?
I'm not familiar with it, but if you'd like to talk to me afterwards, I'll be happy to look at it. Way back in the back, there's a gentleman.
One other question. I noticed the term home, which is Halifax Urban Ministry under the Salvation Army. If the Salvation Army is the temporary solution, and I'm not dissing home at all, I've never heard of home until I got involved in this. I've heard of the Salvation Army. I think every time this room has. Why? I'm just wondering why the Salvation Army is not being the lead agency in this thing. If they're the temporary solution, why can't they be the permanent?
I think they are the lead agency. If de facto is not being recognized, and they'll tell you, we recognize them for their fine work and trying to provide a solution to this issue for the city. They have the capability and they really have the funding necessary to be successful in providing services for the home. So we're very encouraged with what they are doing. Yes, ma'am, way back.
I'm just curious, we have a race coming up in Daytona in a couple of days. What are you guys planning to do to decrease the economic impact of the Beach Street location on the business owners down there on Beach Street?
Yeah, we hope to have a solution in the terms of having beds necessary to take care of the population that remains there within the next 2 weeks.
Well, the race is on the 29th.
Right.
So that's closer than 2 weeks. So what's your really short-term plan?
We're already, I think there's 64 beds we've put into play already, and there's about another 30 we're trying to get done. And that,
have you been meeting with the business owners down there?
Not yet. We have not met with the business community downtown, other than through the downtown association, or downtown.
Is that in the works?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
I was thinking, once you get your business homeless shelter off the ground, how are you going to choose your employees? Are you going to rent out to people with degrees, or are you going to use the homeless people that have been through the...
I don't have an answer to that because we get into the operational shelter itself, and we're not...
Well, I'm just asking because if they're out on the street, they would be the better people to bring in and build them up and get them going and,
I think
power.
it's a great idea.
If the homeless people have pets, is there going to be a provision in safe harbor for like where homeless people can keep any pets that they have?
The question is, what are we, I think, what are we doing?
Repeat your question.
Are there any provisions for people that have pets that go to safe harbor? Is there a place to put their pets?
We have agreements with the Halifax Humane Society, and that'll be part of the element that we'll have to finalize in the currently use.
Are contributions to the city tax deductible,
Yes, ma'am.
and who's going to manage that, the distribution of funds, particularly in the interim purposes?
It comes back through my office, and it's with the agencies, the two agencies, the Home and Salvation Army. They're the primary ones that are providing services currently.
So essentially, it would be funds that would be going through the city to the organizations that are implementing.
And there's other things that they need too. There's in some cases, some of these folks want to go back home to wherever their homes are, and they're needing travel money. That's a part of what we need to do, is help them get back to their families. All right. Yes, sir.
According to the Huffington Post of November of 2012, the City Commission in Columbia, South Carolina voted 6-0 to build a 600-bed homeless shelter. Once they got it built, you can't leave without an appointment, and they escort you out and escort you back in. The police are guarding all the roads to and from the place, and the local police in the surrounding cities, including Columbia, go around and round up the homeless people and throw them in there. And under FEMA rules, if you become homeless, you lose your job and lose your house and your apartment and can't pay your mortgage and become homeless, you're then considered a threat to yourself and the surrounding community and not able to care for yourself. And that's the reason they're using to throw people in there. And that, I suspect that's why they want to build it so close to slingshots, throw away from the jail, so it'd be very convenient to just take you right down the street to the jail. That's
I'm glad we're in Florida. I'm glad we're in Florida, because we're not, that's not our goal.
Good, I'm glad to hear that.
Exactly, that in Pinellas County, they built the Pinellas County Safe Harbor House. They have a capacity of 400 people. They run on the same budget of $1.6 million a year. They process 100 people through there every month. I spoke with them on Monday. So that's not an old 2012 number. It's a real live today number.
Yeah.
So I encourage the city to pursue this, and if anybody's got any good sense and love for the homeless, this is a great en masse way to produce and provide for them a shower, a toilet, a little dignity, a little self-respect, some fresh clothes, and a meal. And to answer the gentleman who asked about home, they're primarily a feeding organization. Pinellas County got their thing off the ground. They gave people those three basic things. And then they brought in outside services to do drug and alcohol, mental rehabilitation, decide who needs government services, who we can push off to the Veteran Administration, who we can push off to the government for Social Security, put them in a home, or whatever they need. Because each and every one of these people is going to be different. And that's probably the hardest thing. If you've ever pulled weeds in your yard, try to get weeds out of your grass. Each one's different. You got to get each and every one. So I commend the county. I think the city has got an unfair burden of homeless. If you notice, when people get out of jail, they're given a bus pass and it goes to one place.
Daytona Beach.
Daytona Beach. And there's no more money or places for them to go back to. And that's right by Manatee Island. What a lovely, safe place to sit back in the grass and go, well, what do I do now? And what do I do now? I go look for food. So this enabling, I think, is a brilliant observation. It's unfortunate that we call it that, but that's where we're at in society. And we all need to sort of, give a little with each other. And I think the largest conflict that's going to happen is between people like the ACLU contending that a religious-based organization is providing services. And all they ask in return is an open heart. They're not asking for a commitment. They're not asking them to go off on a Christian crusade and give their life. They're asking to open up to God. Whether your God is Allah or Moses or Jesus. we are our brother's keeper, whatever his thoughts. And I like to say in closing, your mind may wander, but your soul is not for sale. So we've got to get back on these people. He said 80 to 90% of them are probably physically, mentally disabled, and that's how they got in this situation. So yes, we need some, there's a good till probably 15, 20, 30% that can get back on their feet, get in a car, get a job, like this gentleman, and you got to start somewhere, folks. So you all need to just give each other a little room to get their pieces done. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, and none of us are perfect, and we all have to make the best decisions we can based on the information we have. And the needs of the homeless are apparent, and we're doing everything we can to address them right now. Greg, you have a question?
First, thanks for what you did tonight and what you did on Manatee Island. You don't come out often in the public and take questions like this, so straight on and for such a long time. And thank you for doing that. Very impressed.
It's a daunting task to address issues that have a long relationship with it. And this is one of those issues.
Can I give you some feedback for this? I know this has been a twisting, turning little road, and the impasse is in front of you. But over these couple of years that you've been marketing and exploring, and a lot of other stuff has gone on in this county, and it's related, at least in my eyes. We have a problem that I think the community finally realizes is bigger than Daytona. Yet they keep trying to stick Daytona with the bill. And then you're out trying to beg, borrow, and steal from every city around. And it seems to me backwards from the start. Instead of the county saying we need more money from the cities already give them money. Everybody in here sends the county money to handle county-wide business. And we got a county that's given away $40 million in the last 2 years between corporate welfare, buying off-beach parking, refurbishing their county council chambers, and a whole host of other things. That $40 million could have paid for 10 years worth of safe harbor, 10 years worth of no beach holes, and we could have got rid of some portables that my kids go to school in. So maybe now that we finally stirred this up to a boiling point, is the next time we meet with our city managers, would you please broach the subject that maybe now it's time to give the county a proposal of $0, that they should be paying for this. And I think when you and Alan Green and Mayor Hathaway and you guys get together, I mean, how many people here think the county should be paying for this and not sticking this You've done a great job and you've shepherded this a long way, but now it's time. I mean, they've been bullying us left and right. And they don't have the power. You, the city managers and our elected officials have the power. Please, if you can't find a way to put it together, please know that there's a whole community of people here ready to see you stand up and go, okay, Josh Wagner, here's my latest offer, $0.
We all feel that way many times, and I can tell you all the managers have some of the same frustration, but we got a task, and we want to stay focused on our task. We have to get to this issue solved for our community and for the people that are suffering the most, which are the homeless. And that's where we're headed. But very good point. Ms. Jim?
So a lot of people who are homeless have a drug addiction. What if they keep relapsing? Are they just going to be kicked back on the streets, or what's going to be done with that?
That's a challenge that I know the case managers face every day. And dealing with addiction is a very difficult problem. I've had family members that have been afflicted with that disease, if you want to call it a disease. But you really have to change, to be successful in my mind, you have to change the people that they associate with. You have to change their whole mode of operation, and you really have to not only cure their addiction problem, you also have to help them find a better way to look for things to do in their life and feel good about themselves. So it's a real challenge. I don't think anybody's got an answer for everything, but I know it's one that our people, the outreach people, they see it every day, and they have the biggest hearts of anybody I know, and I can't think of a job that's more challenging than the one they have. Okay, let's get some people that
haven't, yeah.
Say something, because I got about 3 people that have taken a lot of questions here. Anyone else? All right, we'll go with this lady first.
Okay,
Yes,
so back to a prosaic issue. City Island bathrooms. They're open during the farmer's market. Are they going to be opened again on a regular basis anytime? What's the status of those?
right now they're open on during farmer's market and there's another occasion, the event activity takes place there.
Okay.
When something's, that's the current schedule.
But there's no plans to reopen them like they were before?
I can't say there isn't any plans. We'll certainly look at it. That's something we're going to have to consider. Okay?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
One of the reasons I got involved in this is I have an accounting background in New York City and Wall Street. And I came down here and I looked at the ongoing funding, and that's what I wanted to get involved with. I don't want to be a case manager for anything. And is the track on city property?
No.
Did we just give them a huge sales tax break?
No, the track is on county property.
Excellent, excellent. What I'm saying is that I think the break was around 400 million.
Yeah.
We're looking for 2 million a year on the upside. Let's be realistic on the upside. Worst case scenario. We're looking at 1/2 of 1%. Okay, it's not going to kill their dividends or their bottom lines and stuff. And I think we may need to go back and renegotiate that deal. If we can get that out through the city to the county, well, excuse me, we have this huge income tax, and they're about to start on Daytona 1. And I mean, the encampment on Beach Street could end up on ISB, barring private security ruffians, I think. They could drop them right in front of there, as the lady said about the races coming to town. So I think if we can touch base with the organization in France and say, we're looking for $1 million, how about half of it? You match every dollar, something like that, where we can get this kind of money on an ongoing basis.
We're working with a lot of the same people, so I can tell you, they're not oblivious to what's going on. And I can tell you the financial impact and the number of jobs that they bring to our community is significant.
Yeah, because people aren't showered and shaved to go down there and apply, and that's what's...
Well, you got all levels of jobs. There's over 5,000, over 4,000 jobs that are construction jobs that's been involved in the state itself. And about the same is going to be involved when we get into the one Daytona project. So it's the impact is significant.
But I'm talking about the monies for the ongoing fundings for people who, the 8% who are mentally and physically disabled, who can't get those jobs.
You're absolutely correct.
You have a question over here, Mr. Chisholm.
Okay.
I just want to make it clear to everybody that the faith organization and the city of Daytona have tried for years to get the county council to fund the operating expenses, and it was a definite compromise because we did not have a majority vote on the county council for them to donate the land, the $4 million, and the operating, even part of the operating expenses. So, I mean, it's been a community-wide effort, and I know the faith organization decided to make a compromise. We all know that it's a countywide problem. If you live in a city, you pay taxes to both entities. We all know that, but the political reality is that they were not willing. And maybe the Daytona Beach representative was, and maybe one of the other council members was, but no one else was. So they were not willing. And I mean, to try again would just leave people on North Beach Street for longer. Enough is enough.
Pinellas County was run by their sheriff's
Right, yeah.
Right.
We tried that
and
too.
it was funded by them. It was funded by the state attorney because they ran their jail also. So that's the problem. Those are some of these differences we have.
We studied that.
We have to overcome. I have to.
We went there. We know what took place, and they had very similar problems. Except that the county took responsibility there. That was the only difference.
Exactly.
But the whole how did we get to this point is certainly interesting and worthy of discussion. But the real thing that we face now is how we solve this problem, and that's where we're focused on. And even with all the distractions and everybody, you can't believe the number of options that's been thrown out in the middle of this project, trying to get a plan of, oh, this is a better idea, they do it in Utah, or they do it in LA. Well, we went to Utah, and we went to those other sites, and you know what? They have to do the same thing we're doing here. And that's what everybody missed in that process. So it took time, we studied it. We did not have everybody on board whenever all these other ideas came out. And we probably don't have everybody on board now. But we're going to stay focused on where we're going and get this project done.
We have just 5 minutes, everybody.
I thought the county agreed, I thought, maybe I didn't get it right, that the county was going to contribute 20% towards the operating costs?
No.
No?
The county's commitment is $4 million to the capital construction plus the land.
And that's it?
That's it.
Okay.
Now, in fairness to the county, if you take the $4 million and amortize it over 15 years, they're actually paying what they would probably pay in contributions toward the operating costs if they made that as a contribution to the operating. That's, you measure it based on what everybody else is paying. So it's not like they're getting all scot-free, because they are making a significant contribution. Yes?
So you're talking about building a new facility way out there and jobs and such. Have y'all pursued to talk to any labor halls or staffing solutions in the area to see if they'd be coming to help with some of the building?
When we get to the design phase, all that's going to be part of that effort to get all these other corporations willing to participate in the private sector in the funding, and it may reduce the cost of this construction. I think there's one more question back there, and then we'll call it a night.
Yes, I have one question. Have there been assessments on the homeless? In other words, we're providing facilities and housing. What type of assessment has been done to know who the homeless really is? Is it local people? Is it that type of what supporting services do we have?
We have an outreach program. I know that the Salvation Army has an excellent outreach program, which means they have individuals that go out and interview and assess each of those individuals to determine, what their problems are where do they fit in the scheme. And I know they can explain this on this better than I can, but they do an analysis so that they can get them into a program of rehabilitation in this process. It's not just, you're homeless, we're going to take you to a facility. They're going to do an assessment, make sure they fit the need that we're trying to achieve, and that is to take them off the streets, and then they're going to help them from not just the initial assessment, it's continue to case manage these individuals so they can be successful.
So how is that information integrated with the city, perhaps integrated with other local agencies? How is that information integrated?
There's a reporting system, there's a continuum of peer group and a reporting system, and they all use the same system, and they talk to each other. But you want to know more. He's with the Salvation Army, and he can tell you all about exactly how it works. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Before you leave, I just want to acknowledge that our mayor is here. Mayor Henry, would you like to give greetings or say anything before we... No? All right. Thank you all so much. And Emory Counts from the City Economic Development. Thank you. Good job.